Okay, we're rolling. Your name and I'm speaking with today?
DavidAlexis, the Caribbean Series Coordinator, the Providence Black Repertory Company.
Great. Well, David, the first question is, of course, what I've been asking you to talk about from your experiences. What is Mass Camp?
Mass Camp is really, Mass is short for masquerade. The Mass Camp is where masquerade costumes are made. It's an area where people come together to build the costumes, to build the costumes.
Okay, and I guess a question that most everybody asks all the time, you're probably going to ask it 1,000 times. When did Mass Camp originate? Most people's involvement, of course, is here in Providence. They come in contact with it, but when did it originate and what was the circumstances in which it originated?
Well, Mass Camp originated in the 1800s when slavery was abolished and people took to the streets to enjoy themselves and partake in festivities that they saw and to emulate what they saw them plantation owners they do, which was the Mardi Gras. They came together in the houses and they made costumes and had fun, have drinks, things to eat, like about a month or 2 months before the actual event. That was an event in itself.
Okay. All right, and in a modern context, what's your first experience with Mass Camp? How old were you when you first started getting involved in that?
Well, I can't remember as a little kid because where I came from, I grew up in masquerade time, mass time, and what I do remember actually is probably at the age of 6 or 7, my older cousin took me to play with him in a band. So I went to the camp, saw them making costumes and saw all the activities. I got measured for my costume, and from there on I was hooked.
Now, someone told me just a little bit of story about you. They said that you were involved with Pan. Mass Camp is integrated with Pan, or is it a separate occasion with Pan?
It is separate. It is separate because Pan is music and masquerade. Mass is masquerade, and I mean Pan supplies the music for the masquerade. But also you have a different type of music that is supplied for the masquerade. They separate, but they one and the same.
Okay, so the occasion when they both come together, that must be a special occasion. What occasion would that be? When the Pan music and the masquerade and everything comes together.
Well, they come together at the festivities on the street. Okay, the Mass Camp happens is just making the costumes for the parade on the street. When they do hit the street, they need some music to dance with, and that's when the Pan and the music came in, and they both fused.
Now, specifically, we're here at where are we now? We're here
we are here in Providence, Rhode Island, in the Providence Black Repertory Company.
And this is obviously the Black Rep, and this is also called the Exodus Cafe. So the Pan music, Mass Camp, how did all of this come to be here at the Black Rep? I know I'm going back a little while, but just a little bit about how the occasion of Mass Camp and all of this came together here at the Black Rep.
Well, being here in an art company, art facilities, and being of Caribbean heritage, I observed that something was missing, and which is a part of the African diaspora, and I thought that we can bring it to showcase the African diaspora, the diversity within the African diaspora. So I brought my Caribbean heritage into the arts here in Rhode Island. By doing so, I got involved with Donald King. Even before he joined, formed the Black Rep. I met him when he was at Brown University doing a play that my daughter was in. They were boyfriend and girlfriend, and we got involved. And I was always involved in the arts. So I mentioned to him some of the things that we do, and I eventually took him to Brooklyn. I invited him down to Brooklyn to see West Indian Carnival Parade.
And obviously I've seen some of the videotapes. It looked like it had quite an influence on it. It looked like it was a profound effect. Anything in particular? You were talking with me on another occasion about an experience. The first time that it was the occasion of Juve, correct?
Yeah. Well, what happened was that I was in New York enjoying the festivities starts like about a month in advance when people prepare the mass camps and the bands are preparing the tunes for the parade, and so I invited him to come down and see what was happening. He was very busy, obviously, and persisted, and he took the bus with his girl, and he came down. I met him in Manhattan. And what happened was when I was driving him from Manhattan to Brooklyn, crossing the bridge, while we were crossing the bridge, we looked back and we saw fireworks going off in the city, and we thought that was an auspicious occasion, and we thought that it meant something for that occasion. It meant something for us. Right. And since that time, it's been fireworks ever since. You
know, that's something what, in my experience, I appreciate Rassan Roland Kirk. He talks about events in your life that are called bright moments. So obviously that must have been a bright moment.
Sure was.
So all of that came together, and how did it come to fruition? What was the first occasion when the Maz Camp and the influence came to fruition? Because you said that was before Black Rep was here at the current location, right?
Yeah, but we were over at Washington Street at the time. Mm-hmm. That was back in 1997. And he was blown away by seeing at least probably like 2 million black people and people on the streets in Brooklyn. He said he studied American history, and he never envisioned that he would see so many black people together in one place happening in America here. So that was something for him to see. People having a good time, coming together, having a good time. And it left an impression on him, I guess a lasting impression on him.
So all of that came to bear, obviously, when the discussions were underway to do the first sound session.
Well, it was even before sound session. Sound session we weren't even thinking about sound session at the time, because in those days, the Black Rep were doing what we call a Providence Blues, Jazz and Blues Festival. But what happened was the following year in 1998, well, he was so blown away by that, and in 97, that we decided to form a group of our own here to take to Brooklyn and participate into the festivities down there. So what it was that a friend of mine has a band, he has been winning for many years. We decided to play in his band. In that time, the name of his band was, they were portraying Rags to Riches. In that concept, we decided to come with a section that we named ourselves the Underground Railroad, showing where the black people came from, and how we persevered, and how we came from rags to where we are today, from rags to riches. At that time, well, that's when the first mass camp started, basically, because what it was, I had to get images of the concept that we had decided to play. We made costumes for it. That was done over in Washington Street. We had people like Helen. Helen's last name is Helen. I don't remember right now. Look at that. Yeah, right. Helen. She assisted in making all the costumes, and we made costumes for like about 20-something people, and we took them down there to Brooklyn. When we got there, we had to make more costumes because more people came down, and about 30-something people stayed at my mother-in-law's house. So at that house in Brooklyn there, we were even making costumes at the last minute there for people who were there to play in the band.
So that was back in, what did you say, 1998?
1998.
And the year of the first sound session, obviously, was 2004.
2004.
So that influence was there all along.
Yes, it was. It was.
Kind of
Yeah.
skewing.
Yes. So we laid the ground. The groundwork was laid. Mass camp and masquerade at and from the Providence Black Repertory Company was laid down in 1998. I would also like to say, when we did participate in that occasion in Brooklyn, we were adjudged the best section in the best band in Brooklyn.
So that was a significant achievement.
It sure was a significant achievement.
In first place.
Yes, we get first, because what we also did to being an artistic company, we did what we call a street performance. When we got in front of the judges, we did a little act like we were escaping. We had Harriet Tubman, we had Sojourner. We also had,
Sojourner Truth.
yeah, Sojourner Truth.
Yeah.
Carry out certain characters and yeah.
Frederick Douglass, all of the characters.
Yes, we had them there.
So David, the first occasion when obviously the sound session and Mass Camp came together, that was the first sound session?
Yeah, that was the first sound session when Donald decided to have a parade added to the concert, a parade aspect. That was in 2004.
Mm-hmm. And so what influence did Mass Camp? Was it the type of musicians that you had there that year?
Well, for the first time, we brought in pan music. We brought in drummers from Trinidad and added to the and the parade was added to sound session.
And some of those musicians obviously came from Brooklyn?
Yeah, originally from Trinidad, and they live in Brooklyn because in Rhode Island here we don't have too many musicians of that caliber.
So they were top of the line musicians?
Top of the line musicians and yeah.
Now, that was in Sound Session 04?
Yes.
I also understand there was a professional pan musician, someone that you were acquainted with for some years?
Yes. His name is Othello Molino. He plays jazz. He's a jazz musician. Mm-hmm. He plays with what's the guy's name? What's his name? Ahmad Jamal. Ahmad Jamal. He plays with Ahmad Jamal for many years, and when Ahmad was here, he played here. But this time he came by himself. He represented Trinidad basically, and he was on that stage, in the main stage there.
So that was Sound Session 04, Sound Session 05. So gradual, I can sense that there was a gradual increase in influence with Mass Camp and the pan music with the parades.
Yeah, and the Caribbean influence, I should say, the Caribbean influence came in in 04. The Mass Camp wasn't what it was like it was supposed to be. We just said we're gonna have mass and costumes, and we just had some people just came in with what they had and put things on, and we had a good time. We had fun.
So to bring it up to date now with Sound Session 07, this is kind of the, would you say that it's the obviously it's not the culmination, but would you say that it's now established as kind of like an established concept where people get to become acquainted with?
I would say so, yes, because work has been done with getting the word out to the community, explaining what Mass Camp means, what it is, and trying to do outreach in the community to bring them in to participate. This has been done through our education program, outreach program, getting out there to bring the community in so that they could be part of this big festival.
So the participation level this year obviously was up from previous years?
Definitely it was up from previous years. Also the Black Reps participation has been moved up a couple of notches in that, like I said, the first time we just had people coming in costume and having fun. For the first time, we trying to get it organized. Last year we had some sort of organization, but people didn't understand, they have the full concept of what it was. But every year we get a little closer. So this year we brought in Caitlin Beck, who went to Trinidad and she participated in mass camps and she came back here. She's a graphic designer, so she drew up some concepts of what we decided to play. The theme for this year was Divine Providence. And within that theme, Caitlin decided that she would deal with the water. The water, which is Rhode Island's, is known for, is the ocean state. Also known for having slavery was a major thing here. So that concept of the water she used to come up with some ideas of images of sea monsters and different characters from the sea. And this is what we decided to portray.
All right. So you had greater participation from all elements of the community. And in that vein, what do you feel could be improved upon or expanded, for example, Sound Session 08? In terms of, question I have is, what's the experience with children? Like you said, you were 6, 7, 8 years old when you first became acquainted with Mass Camp and those sort of things. Could there be, or was there greater influence on the level of children?
Well, I've seen, and I'm impressed because I've seen some parents bringing their kids along, and in the parade I saw some kids in costume, and I was very impressed. What it is too is that in Trinidad and most places, this carnival is held during the day. Here it is very unique in that the parade starts at 10 o'clock at night, and some people they're not too familiar with the concept of that parade at night and bringing the kids out at night, but it's catching on. We do plan at some point in time, maybe next year or the year after, to have a whole kids parade. The kids do their whole thing and they're in artistic form. They make their own costumes and they come and participate. So the kids will do their thing in the day and the grown folks will do the thing at night.
Well, I've heard of something I know is very dear to your heart and special to you. Do you have any plans for teaching, for instance, the pan music in the schools or anything on that kind of level?
Well, I have done some teaching the pan within the community in 2003, 2004. We did some outreach and we did some programs in the schools. We were out at the West End Community Center. We did a program with the kids there with the pan. Also, we did something at DavidAlexis there with the pan. Also, we had some kids that came in from the Children's Crusade. And at that time, this was just the music aspect of the thing. I did some pan workshop with the kids. The mass workshop is a work in progress. This is what we so the kids could be making costumes, which they can use all through the year for all different parades. So it's just a matter of learning the technique. The technique being with wire bending and wire sculpturing, making costumes out of wire, which is light, very light, and so that they can carry their costumes very easily.
Yeah. So I'm hearing that the potential is there to carry the Mass Camp all year up until Sound Session.
Oh, definitely so.
So we'll obviously be seeing you again, and so would you accept the idea that you're rapidly becoming somewhat of the master of ceremonies, master of Mass Camp? And is that a title that you would relish, or are you looking to pass that on to South? Is it someone that you're grooming? Well, I've heard of something I know is very dear to your heart and special to you. Do you have any plans for teaching, for instance, the pan music in the schools or anything on that kind of level?
Well, I have done some teaching the pan within the community in 2003, 2004. We did some outreach and we did some programs in the schools. We were out at the West End Community Center. We did a program with the kids there with the pan. Also, we did something at DavidAlexis there with the pan. Also, we had some kids that came in from the Children's Crusade. And at that time, this was just the music aspect of the thing. I did some pan workshop with the kids. The mass workshop is a work in progress. This is what so the kids could be making costumes, which they can use all through the year for all different parades. So it's just a matter of learning the technique. The technique being with wire bending and wire sculpturing, making costumes out of wire, which is light, very light, and so that they can carry their costumes very easily.
Yeah. So I'm hearing that the potential is there to carry the Mass Camp all year up until Sound Session.
Oh, definitely so.
So we'll obviously be seeing you again, and so would you accept the idea that you're rapidly becoming somewhat of the master of ceremonies, master of Mass Camp? And is that a title that you would relish, or are you looking to pass that on to someone else? Is it someone that you're grooming to be able to come full force, or are you? Is it still your baby? Is it something that you're?
It is still my baby because I see that we do have a lot to accomplish. We have a lot of ways to go still to gather the whole concept and the spirit most of it is the spirit in which things are done. You know, so I do have some more work to do before. I mean, anybody could take it over and make costumes and go in the street and parade, and that's it. But getting the spirit and the whole concept of the whole thing together, it's a work in progress.
Okay, well, I have a personal question, something I'm somewhat interested in. What are the plans? Are there plans eventually to take a contingent from Providence, Rhode Island, to Trinidad for Juve? I'm looking to go ahead and start getting my costume together.
In this, I didn't mention that I did take Donald King to Trinidad, and this was part of his initiation into this whole Caribbean concept. In 1999, I took him to Trinidad for Carnival. He did participate in the festivities in a band. He was in costume with friends of mine, and all this encouraged him to do what we're doing. My thing now is, before we even go to Trinidad, I would like this, when we're making costumes here, that we could take these same people and their costumes and participate in some of the festivities here. We have festivities in Boston, the Boston Carnival. We could go into that and be part of it. We could go into Brooklyn and be part of the New York thing. And I mean, eventually we'd like to go to Trinidad, obviously. I mean, it takes more money, but eventually we'd like to be part of that. Exchange program, go to Trinidad and bring Trinidad here with us.
Well, I can see the enormous potential. You know, there's an awful lot of talk about Providence being sister cities with other cities around the world. It'd be wonderful if they could be a sister city with a city in Trinidad as well.
Oh, definitely. In 1999, when I went to Trinidad with Donald, we met with people down there within the art and within the theatric community, so that we could do student exchange in theater. So I mean, so it's all theater. The mass is theater also, it's street theater. Yeah. So it's a broader sense. So we working on that concept of unity and togetherness with Trinidad, and exchange the students and exchange the actors and artists, and even we could plan on giving them professional help in directing and things like that. So that educational and that cultural exchange is in the works.
Okay, and one final question. Any particular bright moment for you this year? Something that you saw during the Maz camp, or something that you saw in the parade in particular, that stands out as a bright moment, that brought a great deal of good feeling and to your heart?
What I observed too, I mean, in the organization of the Maz camp, in putting things together, I did see that the workers were organized. They might not have the proper concept, but the organization of putting the things together, and management, you know, taking people's name, putting the costumes in bags, and so people, you know, everything was in order. And that was a bright moment for me to see the organizational part of that. That was bright for me.
I'm going to share with you, because I'm not sure of your perspective, you being involved in a parade. But I just want to say, as a resident of Providence, Rhode Island, longtime resident, when I saw the mayor and these two children, along with Donald and his family and his daughter, his wife, all of these individuals that were participating in the parade, at the front of the parade with masks on, and I think I saw the mayor put a new step in his glide. You know, he was walking differently, you know. And I think that has an awful lot to do with the concept of mass. It's just the opportunity for someone and folks, just for a little while, to come outside of their regular self and join in the parade. So I think that's largely due to your influence and your effect upon the parade. I just wanted to thank you personally for that bright moment that I was able to see. And I have some of that documentation on videotape. So I'm sure folks will have an opportunity to see some of that in the future. All right, thank you very much, David. In closing, anything that you'd like to say?
Well, yes, like now that you mentioned the mayor and all that, the kids that you saw, my involvement was getting things organized, and I was sort of blinded to some things. But I was happy to see all these people coming together with smiles on their faces and dancing in the street and having a good time. I mean, that meant a whole lot to me. Bringing people together to have a good time meant a whole lot to me.
I know you've had just a little bit of opportunity to rest, but I've heard tell that you're already making plans and whatnot, and thinking about some new concepts for Maz Camp 08 and Sound Session 08. So maybe you can invite folks to what they can do in the meantime to maybe stay involved. So you want to take the opportunity to invite folks to Maz Camp 08?
Well, first off, I would like to invite those who participated to come back, and we have a party here, and then we grow on that. And
so you do have plans for that?
Yes, so we could keep a core of people, and we build on those that we had here, and that's the concept, building on what we have.
All right, well, thank you very much, and once again, congratulations. I think it was a beautiful job, and it's a labor of love, so I know that you're going to continue in that vein. All right, David, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.